All right. So simple enough. Miss Alexander and I put together a project. She was wanting to do an enrichment thing for her class. And so she had the idea to have her kids have to do a math, a science, and an ELAR activity, and then have kind of a culminating activity. And so what you see is most of what this looks like in her for her assignment. So what we did, there's two parts. Part one is a Canvas page, and there's some reasons that that's going to work best using a Canvas page for this. There's other ways to do it, but I think it'll work better for that. And then part two is you need a slide deck. And so really simple. This is available in the collaborative course. If it's not in your particular grade level collaborative course, then I can make sure and copy it there. But basically, what you're going to do is make your page, and your page is going to start with a table. If for some reason a 3x3 table doesn't work for what you're wanting to do, you can always add a new table using that feature. But let's assume that you're good with the three rows of three. Now you'll notice hers are colored, and you can do this really easily. If you click in the table, when you go to row, you can actually change each row. And in this case, we are using the 6-digit universal HTML color code. If you just type in HTML color codes, then you basically get this giant pinwheel with every imaginable shade. You pick any color you want, and it's going to give you a 6-digit code. And so you use that. You can type in things like blue or brown or red, but there's probably only about 15 colors that'll come up doing that. And also, a lot of times, those colors. It's like if you type blue instead of this nice kind of pewtery soft blue that we have, if you type blue, you're going to get a blue similar to the OK button, but just about 900 times brighter to where it kind of hurts your eyes to look at it. So you can play around with the different colors. When in doubt, try just using the word. If it doesn't work, then you can use that HTML color code. You'll notice, for what it's worth, you cannot do that with columns. So if you want your colors to be the same up and down instead of across, there is a way to do it. You basically have to go to each square individually in your HTML editor, come in here and type in your color code for that particular square 9 different times. Most people would rather just have it go across than go through the steps. But if you want to do that, I can show you how to do that pretty easily as well. So in this case, we've got our table, and basically our directions are going to be choose one activity from each colored row before completing the my project. So then this oval kind of Easter egg looking guy, this is actually an image. So this is not editable. If I click it, it's going to give me the whole thing. So I did that by putting it in my slide deck. Here it is. Export it as a JPEG or PNG, and then uploaded it into the Canvas page. So if you are using the template we have and you want to change something in here, you'll actually need to do that separately, because you're not going to be able to change the text within this image. So there's my kind of two main parts. I've got a table with my different activities, and I've got my big main project. And so that's what it's going to look like. Now I've left out one part on purpose. The other thing you're going to need to do is link each of these activity titles to your slide deck. And so just so if you didn't ever know, each slide in a slide deck has its own address. So if you just kind of look at the numbers at the end, when I change slides here, you see just 1 or 2 digits sometimes is all that'll change. Here we've got a couple different things. So you're going to go and copy that address for that slide. And then in your edit mode, let's see, movie poster. In your edit mode, you're going to go, and if you'll highlight the words, if you don't highlight and put the link in, it's just going to add the word link. So type in your words, highlight the words, and then click link to URL. And then you're going to add the link. In this case, it's already there. Click update. So then what ends up happening when I click cancel, I didn't really change anything. What ends up happening, I'm going to click off of this just so you see, is when I click, it opens not just to the presentation, but to that specific slide. Now, obviously from here, they can navigate so they could go to a different slide, but it at least takes them to the correct first slide. And that way on your Canvas page, you can just have a couple of words. You can come up with really catchy titles so they think, oh, I want to do that one. And then you can have the directions on the slide deck. So that's kind of part one of the linking process. So you're going to do that for all 9 of your activities. Then the other thing you're going to do is if you go to the project, click File, and click Publish to the Web, you want the embed code, and that's that big wonker right there. In your Canvas page, you're going to click Edit, and you want your cursor, in the spot it's going to be. Go to your HTML editor. If you've never done this before, it seems like you're doing something really crazy. It's really simple. Go to the beginning of all the text. Some of these are just telling it to have spaces and things. So if I were to put it like right here, it's going to come up some crazy place. So just make sure you're at the beginning. You're going to paste that content, that code. And then when I go look in Rich Content Editor, now I have an embedded version of those slides right there above my activity. Now, the one thing you might want to do is it may be too big. And so if you come up here and look, you're going to find a spot where it gives you a width and a height. It will automatically make the proportion correct. So if I change this to, let's just say 700 and 400, that may not be the exact specifications, the exact ratio. And then it just gives me a little black box. So if I made it just a little taller than it is wide, then it'll give me black lines on top and bottom. If I make it just a little bit too wide, it'll give it on the sides. But what that lets you do, and this is why we recommend doing it in a Canvas page, when they open their project, they're going to have an embedded link. So you can have your week's activities, and you're going to tell them any given day or each week, we have to do this stuff before you can work on the special activity. And so on Wednesday, if they're like, oh, I haven't done this, I haven't finished my hop back 10, they know they can't start working on their enrichment activity yet. So they kind of know what that is. Then what ends up happening is you don't have to go and change this page in Canvas every time, because what'll happen is you'll just change. You can either change this first slide, or so I can go and put the new dates and put the new activities, or I can add a slide on top of it, and the embedded copy is always going to be the top slide. So they'll always be able to come here. Now they can, just so that you know, they can come in here and they can click to other slides. But what they'll see first when they open the page is this week's activity. So you just always add your week's activities at the top, and then that's what they'll see first. And then they'll know, hey, I'm done with all our Wednesday stuff, and there's still 10 minutes left in class. I can come here and work on a book cover or work on this movie poster or whatever you've got it called. And that's pretty much it. You've got your activities all detailed in your slides. You've got your week's activities as the first slide. And then they're able to basically work on their own. And so they know when they get done with their normal activities, they can come and work on one of these things. And then they can go, once they do all that stuff, they can go and start working on their My project. So hopefully that gives you some good insight. If you have any questions, please reach out. And I hope that this can be a great tool for you in your class.